All right, get the statement from Coach and take questions after, so raise your hands, please.
Yeah, we're headed to Carolina this afternoon. We've had two really good games with them the last 2 years. Neither one of them have been a home or away game. No, they've both been neutral site games. We were fortunate to get two close wins. I think they're both 2-point games, so I'm sure they'll be more than ready for us. You know, they're obviously a really good program. They got one of the better backcourts in the country. You know, they're averaging almost 50 points amongst those three starting guards they've got. So we're gonna have to be significantly better. You know, on our offensive side, we gotta take care of the ball. I thought we had a major problem in Vegas turning the ball over. You know, it cost us the game against Oregon with way too many in the first half and some costly ones late. And defensively, we're nowhere near where we need to be. So we've got, you know, they're going to test our defense. They have the number 5 rated offense in the country right now. And Ken Palm, they're good. They run good stuff. They play fast. They're actually playing faster than we are. So our transition defense is going to have to be great. They're a little different than when we played them in the past. You know, they had Baycott in the past, and they went into the post a lot more. It's a lot more guard oriented this year, so our guards are going to have to do a better job on, you know, guarding their backcourt. And then before I'm sure a question will come up, we did get an MRI on Latrell. They got back to us yesterday evening, this morning, I think, maybe is when we finally got the final word that he did rupture his Achilles tendon. So he's out for the year, which is disappointing. I mean, he's leading the team in 3-point percentage, is one of the better shooters in the country. He's going to have surgery on him on Wednesday. We expect him to make a full recovery. It's obviously not a quick recovery from Achilles, but they're confident that Dr. Norman Waldrop's going to do the surgery and that he'll be able to get back to a high-level basketball, you know, after his recovery. But he's out for the year. And Chris Youngblood is practicing every day, getting live basketball. We got to get to where he feels comfortable to start playing in games, and there'll be a ramp up. You know, we have a minutes restriction once he's able to start playing in games too, and I'm still not sure when that's going to be. So a little bit short-handed in the interim, but we should be getting Chris back here pretty soon, and hopefully getting him to full strength as quick as we can.
Starting right here, Charlie.
Hey, Coach, on the trails, what do you say to him to kind of keep his spirits up? And is there any possibility you kind of look at a medical red shirt for him?
Yeah, so we did look at the medical red shirt. You know, the rule is 30%, which is 10 games in basketball, and you can't play in the second half of the season, which he hasn't, so he's played 8. So we're definitely looking at the medical red shirt, and we're just going to have to kind of sit down. I mean, he's already a college graduate, so there's lots that goes into that. Right now, our focus is more with making sure that he's, you know, he and his family, you know, his family will come in and be with him during the surgery, and just make sure he gets taken care of during the surgery, and that's kind of where we're at with him now. And then, as you know, after he gets out of surgery, as a couple of weeks go on, we'll start to figure out what the next steps are with him on that.
Blake.
Hey, Coach, just being shorthanded, losing Reitzel for the year, has there been any consideration to maybe burning Houston Molet's red shirt, playing him this season?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Talked to him and his dad. It's still on the table. We're, you know, kind of trying to see what's, you know, you don't want to mess what's best for the kid. You know, in my history of coaching, I always try to do what's best for the player. So most of the time, what's best for the player is best for the program. We're trying to figure out would there be enough minutes to make it worthwhile. So that's definitely on the table. Though we've had those discussions here over the last couple of days.
Tony.
Yeah, with the struggle in turnovers, what have you kind of attributed to that, and how do you kind of fix that heading into a game, like you said, with the transition? And
Yeah, we've done a good job. These last 3 games we're really bad. The number one thing, in my opinion, is we've had issues with our spacing. Like with just too many guys crowding the ball. There's not enough space on the floor to make plays. Some are driving into crowds and that's what you expect to have happen. Some of it's just being casual with the ball. We had too many of those. Just weren't strong. Ball security wasn't great. So, if we can get I think we had 20, 15, and 15. So 50 turnovers over the 3 games. If we can get those down to closer to 10 to 12 instead of up there in that kind of 17 to 18 range, I think we can significantly improve our offense. I also think spacing will help our shooting. Our shooting hasn't been what we thought it would be this year either. But I think we've guys got to kind of learn how we want them to play. Sometimes we put a huge emphasis on cutting over the last couple of years, and it's been great. Our field goal percentage has gone up. Our turnovers have actually been at their lowest last year. But we also got to figure out how to cut and space. And right now we're not spacing real well. So big point emphasis on getting our spacing correct over these last few days.
In the middle, Jack.
And then just with, excuse me, being shorthanded in the guard rotation, what have you seen from Aiden, and just how much more of a jump is he going to have to take to help you guys maybe if he gets some extended minutes?
He's been good. I mean, he's not shooting it quite as well as we'd seen him shoot in practice. And again, I think some of that goes into we got to space the floor better. We got to get guys to move the ball and get better shots. But he's been playing pretty well. I thought his defense has really improved. He hasn't been a big issue with the turnovers. He's actually taken care of it pretty well himself. So with Reitzel being out as many minutes as Reitzel was playing, he's going to definitely be getting more minutes. Provided he plays well in his minutes, guards, and takes care of the ball. And the shot making will come as long as we keep moving the ball and spacing it well.
Joe.
Coach, one of your colleagues recently, Coach Hurley, said that he didn't really like his experience in Maui. I want to ask you, what was your experience like in Las Vegas? How do you think the MTE maybe helped your program, and just overall thoughts on the event?
Yeah, I mean, we've always done an MTE. Theirs was a little different. They played 3 straight games. We're planning on going back to the Players Area event. I thought it was great. The accommodations was great. You were in the same building that you played in at MGM. They did a great job taking care of us. The food was great. Competition was good. Best officials in the country doing it. So we're going back next year to the Players Area. Now, I know Dan pretty well, and I haven't talked to him since the Maui experience, but that's a long flight to Maui. They played 3 straight games, so it's a little different. I'll say this though, we don't have that long of a flight, but if you're going to win a conference tournament, you got to win 3 straight games back to back to back. So I don't think it's the worst for us to have to play some back to back games so that we've got an idea of what it looks like. Now the NCAA tournament's never back to back, but it is, 2 games in 3 days. So I thought ours was pretty good. You went back to back, had 2 days off, then played one. Maybe I think the original plan was to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, which wouldn't have been bad. You get it back to back, and then you get one game there where you've just got 1 day between, which is kind of a combination of SEC tournament where it's every day you're playing, an NCAA tournament where it's every other. So I liked our MTE. I thought the competition was good. It would have been even better if we'd have won the last game, but I thought it made us better, and I thought everything was top notch out there.
Hey Coach, you mentioned it in your opening statement that UNC has a really good backcourt. 3 of them are averaging over 14 points right now, but more specifically, what have you seen from preseason All-American RJ Davis?
Yeah, their backcourt, I think, is averaging 14, 16, and 18, so almost 50 between the 3 of them. I think, we played against them last year. I think they're all improved. Cadeau's a really improved shooter. I don't think we'll be able to guard him quite like we did last year. Trimble as well. Both those guys, you can tell, have worked on their shots, and R.J. Davis is the most experienced one. He's been there. You know, he's one of the best guards in the country. He's a high-level shot maker. I mean, he kind of can get to the rim. He can pull up. You know, he didn't shoot it particularly well against us. I thought we did a decent job. Rylan Griffin guarded him, kept size on him, and tried to run him off the line. I think he was 0 for 9 from 3, if I remember correctly. I don't have the stats in front of me from the game last year, but he didn't shoot it particularly well. I thought Rylan did a great job guarding him. He's a much better shooter than that. What we saw in that game, I think, you know, we're gonna have different matchups ready for him. Is it better to keep a quicker guard that can stay in front of him? If you put size on him, he's quicker than those guys, but they can challenge his shot better. So, you know, we've got our hands full. I think we've got a decent plan. We'll see how it goes as the game goes along.
Speaking of RJ, him and Mark have both kind of seen their 3-point shooting go down a little bit this year. Is there anything behind that, or is it just a matter of time, you know, before they kind of start ramping it back up? And then kind of like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, I can't speak for RJ's necessarily because I'm not over there looking at every one of his shots, but with Mark's, we have looked at it pretty in depth. We looked at all of his threes taken this year and last year, see what the difference was. A few things. One is teams are definitely gearing their defense towards Mark. It's a little bit different. I think, like I mentioned before, our spacing hasn't been great, so he's found himself on top of the ball too much. Either if you space away, you can kind of step in, and that's kind of been the biggest difference I've seen. He hasn't been able to get spaced far enough off to where he can be stepping into every shot. You know, he's been kind of stepping out of a lot of shots. You know, because we looked, you know, a lot of the shots are kind of taken from pretty deep, but he actually shot, we chart on the line threes, off the line threes. You know, he's shooting a much higher percentage of his shots off the line this year than last year, but he shot almost half his threes from off the line last year, and he was at 51%. So it's not like he can't shoot from deep, but he makes them at a much higher clip when he's actually stepping into a shot. The only way you can be stepping into your shot is you space away from the ball to step into your shot. So we got to get him off the ball more and spaced wide and away so that he can be stepping in. And if teams don't want to help off him, that's fine. We got, you know, Holloway, Phylon, guys that can get in the paint, drive downhill, and use the space that the other teams are given if they want to kind of just tug on the mark out there. So I think we'll see a much better shooting. Mark Sears, I think he's working on it. He was in early this morning with Coach Murphy shooting, and I think he shot 81%. You know, got the NOAA tracking deal, so we're kind of working on some of that. But, you know, I can't really speak to RJ. My guess would be on their end, he's seeing similar stuff with Mark, where defenses are really focused on stopping him. As you know, they're both talked about, you know, All-Americans, possible Player of the Year candidates nationally. So, you know, both those guys are going to have defenses focused on stopping them this year.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.